It's time for Point of View with Ms. Shirley Polk. I'd like to keep the whole Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Point of View with Ms. Shirley Polk. And today is the 17th of April in the year 2025. And I am so grateful to God because He has allowed us to live to see another day. And another day that we can learn something and or else be reiterated on something, be reminded of something we might already know and be just informed. And my point of view is based on research and experience. And I am so thankful. So today we're talking about counseling or not. Counseling or not. Can everyone benefit from counseling? And the difference in counsel and counsel. All right, so this is point of view. Dear God, as I sit before you to speak, I pray to you that my soul you will keep. And if I should die before I finish, I pray to you, dear God, in the name of Jesus, that any outstanding sins will be forgiven. Amen. I am just so grateful. And for you, I'm praying for you. Whatever your state is right now, whatever your situation is right now, I'm praying that God will bless you and that everything is working out for your good. And even though you might not think it's working out for your good, just remember this, that God has your best interest at heart. And if you love Him, it said, all things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to purpose. And I know there's a his in there, but that's italicized, and that means that it was inserted in there by King James because the King James translation is the most popular translation in the world. And so now we have other translations, but in there it has his, but it said all things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to purpose. And yes, according to God's purpose, I believe that that's what it is. All right? Without the his being inserted in there. So let's get on with it. And we're going to talk about the difference in counsel, Counsel, and counsel. Council. So many times we might get the spelling mixed up. We might mean one might mean council, and we spell it council. Okay, so Council versus Counsel. What's the difference? And we're in dictionary.com right now. The word counsel, Council, is a noun and only a noun. It most commonly refers to a body of people who have been officially designated or selected to act in an advisory, administrative, or legislative capacity. A council isn't always official, but the word usually implies that it is. For example, a city council is a city's legislative body. And we'll go into more of that. Council is the city's legislative body. So, and It commonly refers to, as I said, the team, the term legal. Okay. Now, counsel is always a noun. I want to reiterate this because I had to change and go to another page. And it most often refers to as an official group that makes decisions. Counsel, Counsel, is commonly used as a noun to mean advice and as a verb to mean to give advice to. The term legal counsel, Counsel, most commonly refers to a person's legal representation, that is, their attorney or team of attorneys, or to the services or advice provided as part of such representations. So, should you use counsel or counsel? Should you use Council or Counsil? See, isn't this wonderful? We learn so much, don't we? Don't we? The word counsel, Council, is a noun and only a noun. A council isn't always official, but the word usually implies that it is. You hear that? So just because you hear the word council, Council, it isn't always official, but the word usually implies that it is. For example, a city council is a city's legislative body, the elected officials whose job is to enact the laws and other policies of a city. An example that uses the word in its official name is the Council of Europe, a European international organization that makes declarations and decisions regarding human rights. The word counsel, Counsel, can be used as a verb and a noun. As a noun, it is most commonly used to mean advice, as in, I always value the wise counsel that you give me. As a verb, it means to give advice to, as in, I've been trying to counsel my children about their careers. Now, is it legal counsel or counsel? In law, the phrase legal counsel, Counsel, is a set phrase that refers to a person's legal representation, that is, their attorney or team of attorneys, as in the defendant opted not to retain legal counsel. Now, it can also refer to the services provided as part of such representation, and it can simply mean legal advice. So we're getting this, aren't we? For those of us who didn't already have it. All right. Although legal counsel, Counsel, is a commonly used phrase, it is certainly possible for a group that discusses law or makes legal decisions to be called a legal counsel, Council. Now, of course, use of this phrase could potentially be confusing given the existence of the more established term legal counsel. All right. My goodness. Now, we're going behind the word. So, how to use counsel and counsel in a sentence. The following examples show the different ways that counsel and counsel are often used. So remember, counsel is Counsel, and counsel is Council. And all of our lives, we've pronounced them the same. Counsel, counsel. It's a counsel and a counsel, okay? One has an I, a CIL, and one has a SEL, all right? So the following examples. Good afternoon. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. I am so happy, and I'm going to check and make sure that I have my titles and my headings right here because you know what I've said sometimes. My heading doesn't uh, come up right on my other pages, but I'm going there now to make sure that it's right. And like I said, I hope your day is great. I am so happy that you're here with me. It makes me feel like I'm really doing something and helping someone. And even, I would continue to do this, and I will as long as the Lord allows. I will continue to do this because I know that someone somewhere in this wide world, wherever it is, whenever it is, someone will get this information at the right time, and they'll be at the right place when they get this information. So I am just so happy about it. Okay? So would you please, for me, share this link, share it so that someone else will benefit from this information also. Many times in our lives, we just go about doing things and saying things and until we learn different, okay? And so when we learn different, we do different and we spread the news we're supposed to so that others will know the difference just like us. We're not selfish and a hoarder of information. So, how to use counsel and counsel in a sentence. The following examples show the different ways that counsel and counsel are often used. Here we go. The Queen's advisors always give her wise counsel. Next, the ad hoc council decided to recruit new members. Next, Jenny counseled me about how to handle myself during a job interview. Next, a council of elders provided counsel to the emperor. And next, I'm not a lawyer, so I strongly advise you to seek legal counsel. Oh, wow, this is so nice. This is so nice. And now we can go just a step further because I want to clarify the difference. And so we will know from now on because there are people out here that need our help. They need to know what, when, where, how. Good. Hi, Janet. Thank you so much for being with me. I know you see the subject and talking about the difference in counsel and counsel. So I'm just happy to present this today. So happy to present it because so many of us, we know how we've gone through life and we thought one thing is the other, and until we find out different. And when we find out different, we should always do differently to our benefit. How about that? You know that. All right. So I hope everything is going well with you also. And I know that I've seen on your page that you've been doing like uh, I would call it maybe social work, helping others for years and years, and that's a wonderful thing. So now we'll go back to our difference. in counsel and counsel. Now, so we're going one step further and learn the difference between advice and advise. Okay, well, hey, we might as well go right ahead into that because it takes all of this, it takes. And, all right, the difference advise versus advice. Advice and advise are closely related. That's ADVICE and ADVISE. They're closely related. See, when we go into study, as you know, we turn over many rocks of knowledge. We would turn this one over, and there's something under here that benefits us. We go to the next one, turn it over. We might accidentally kick a rock, and it flips over, and we find something else. Okay? All right. And I'm talking, it could be literal while we're out and about, going about our daily lives, or it could be mentally also. Okay? Advice and advise are closely related. They're used in the same contexts and they are separated by only one letter, but they're pronounced differently. Okay. The pronunciation is very important and it can make a difference. It can make a crucial difference depending on the situation and on the conversation. Okay? The challenge is really remembering which spelling to use for the noun and which spelling to use for the verb. Take our advice, ADVICE. After we advise, ADVISE, you on the difference. You'll never get them mixed up again. Don't we like this? So here's a quick summary here. You can remember that advice is a noun spelled with the ending ICE because it also rhymes with ice, which is also a noun. You can remember that advise is a verb because it rhymes with advertise, which also is a verb. Oh, wow, this is nice. Advice or advise. Advice is a noun that means guidance about what someone should do. Advise is a verb that means to provide someone with guidance about something. In other words, to advise someone is to give them advice. And please excuse Fresh, he's been spoiled over there. So he's speaking out today. Despite their very similar spelling, advice and advise are pronounced differently. Advice rhymes with ice, while advise rhymes with advertise. Advises or advises. Advice is a type of noun that's known as a moss noun. Excuse me. I read that wrong. Excuse me, it's a mass noun. Excuse me, please. Advice is a type of noun that's known as a mass noun or an uncountable noun. This means that it's not countable or quantifiable in the way that countable nouns take, aka count nouns, like tree and dollar and idea or. Okay, so a mass noun, like number one, a noun as sunshine, electricity, or happiness that typically refers to an indefinitely divisible substance or an abstract notion, and that in English cannot be used in such a sense with the indefinite article or in the plural. Example sentences. Also, as a mass noun, the style of music or fashion associated with this movement. Or should that be traded in bitcoins? Standard usage is still being worked out, so for now, Bitcoin appears both as an uncountable mass noun and a countable unit. An example of data used as a mass noun is, or else data, is increasing at an incredible rate. So I'm going to go right on back to my main subject here because I know how my time will get on out of the way. Advice versus advise. What's the difference? And I am in dictionary.com. So we've done that. So now, counseling. Is counseling for everybody? To counsel or not? To counsel or not? So, counseling or not? Can everyone benefit from counseling? In and the difference in counsel and counsel. So we took care of the difference, all right? So, should we accept counseling? Should we accept counseling? I believe my point of view on that is that everybody needs counseling sometime. And that song that I mentioned, no man is an island, no man stands alone. Each man's joy is joy to me. Each man's grief is my own. We need one another, so I must defend each man as my brother, each man as my friend. That song, No Man is an Island, and I remember that from when I went to Terrell School, learned it when I was in elementary school. No man is an island. So, should we accept counseling? Everybody needs counsel at some time or another. The Bible tells us, remember when God had Moses to get some counsels, people to help him with the tribe of Israel. What are the recognized benefits and limitations of counseling and psychotherapy? What are the recognized benefits of and limitations of counseling and psychotherapy? And so here it's spelled with two L's, counseling, and then on my page I think I have it spelled with one L, and either one is acceptable. I've seen them spelled both ways. So, what are the recognized benefits and limitations of counseling and therapy? Research studies continue to indicate that for significant Majority of people, counseling and psychotherapy is of benefit when tailored to their needs. See, that is the difference. When tailored to their needs. Okay, get back to where I'm supposed to be here. Recognize benefits and limitations of counseling and psychotherapy. Benefits of counseling and psychotherapy. The benefits of having counseling and psychotherapy include, but are not limited for, increased understanding of the current issues being faced and how past experiences may be influencing how a person is impacted, resulting in a growth in self awareness and awareness, including how a person sees and understands themselves, others, and the world. Next, the provision of psychoeducation and support to enhance coping mechanisms and resilience, resulting in the reduced risk of recurrence of mental health issues. Next, growth of self acceptance and self regard through greater understanding of the situations and events that have contributed to psychological problems, resulting in better management of harmful patterns of behaviors, for example, self harm and addiction. Next, growth in self confidence and agency, resulting in, for example, the resolution of specific problems, adoption of healthy coping strategies, the ability to make more fully informed choices and decisions, improved communication and ways of relating with the potential for healthier relationships and increased harmony with others. Then there's a growth in empowerment, which can result in an increased ability to seek justice, disclose historic issues, make positive life to make positive life choices, and the sense of having a right to be heard. Next, improved mental health resulting in, for example, a reduction in the symptoms of emotional distress, such as depression, stress, and anxiety. Improved spiritual health through gaining awareness, understanding of how spiritual and religious issues and concerns impact on mental health issues and well being, and vice versa. I'm going to take a break, so would you please enjoy the Polk Sisters and Company? I'd love to teach the whole world music for just a few minutes, and I will be back. teach the whole world music. To sing a simple melody. To sing about all the joys and good times, yeah. You see, that's the way God meant for it to be. And if you don't like it, you don't have to sing. You don't have to sing my song. If you don't like it, you don't have to play. You don't have to play my song. If you don't like it, you don't have to sing. You don't have to sing my song. If you don't like it, you don't have to play my song. I'd love to sing a song for all the children. They are our future. Can you see? Take a little time out for the babies and teach them about love, hope, and prosperity. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you, thank you, thank you. These pets are a joy to us, and I am one who believes that you take care of them. If you don't want to take care of them, you should not have them. They are precious. They. I'm not saying they're souls because we don't know or not, but they are living creatures, and they should be attended to with love and care. All right. So, I'd love to teach the whole world music. That is the reason I'm here. I want everybody to feel the love, joy, happiness that is spread throughout the world each and every day. And I trust that I am a great part of that in your life. Okay, let's go right back to what we were talking about, all of these benefits, talking about what are the recognized benefits and limitations of counseling and psychotherapy. And I pronounce it like that because it's COUNSELLING, and sometimes it just has the one L. All right. So, benefits, we read those. And it's very important. All of these benefits can also bring improvements in a person's religious and spiritual life and relationship with God or their sense of the divine. There are also the often reported but less tangible benefits of the experience of having a confidential and safe space to unburden and explore current issues, to be listened to and valued, and to process life events and their impact. So this can be especially valued when people have suffered from adverse life events, whether in childhood or as adults. For example, neglect, trauma, isolation, oppression, loss, and bereavement. So there is an emotional release from sharing with a professional counselor or psychotherapist that cannot be easily shared or communicated with others. Often, this process in itself can result in someone simply feeling more at peace in themselves. And that's for real. Have you ever talked to someone, and I'm sure you have, and just being able to share with someone gave you a release, gave you a feeling of ease that you were able to share it with someone. And now you have to remember that you have to be very careful. I know many times it's trial and error. We've trusted someone and they have spilled everything we've said to someone else that was not supposed to know. So there are precautions. So that's why professional counseling, of which I am, and you see my telephone number there on the screen, at Peace of Mind Counseling. I am qualified, I am certified, and if you need someone to talk with, you can always call me or text me through these social media uh, sites that I'm on. The therapeutic relationship, here we go. The approaches that counselors and psychotherapists take vary in emphasis and method, and all of these well established and recognized approaches can be of benefit. Therapists are responsible for making sure that the approach that they offer is one that they are competent to work within and is suitable for a particular client's presenting concerns and difficulties. So they have to make sure it's tailored to the person, the individual, okay? So the therapeutic relationship. However, research consistently suggests that the single most important factor in counseling and psychotherapy is the effectiveness of the therapeutic relationship between the counselor and the client. Therefore, it is important that a person considering counseling and psychotherapy has a choice about whom they engage with and has an opportunity to meet with the therapist initially to make sure that it is someone they feel safe and comfortable to work with. Oh, this is so good, isn't it? All counselors and psychotherapists are aware of the importance of this fit, so a person should not feel awkward or embarrassed when explaining to a therapist that they do not feel that they want to work with them. Important factors in considering the suitability of counseling and psychotherapy. And I am going to do the hard pronunciation of the latter part of this word, the next syllable. Counseling, not counseling, okay? Counseling, counselor, all right? So, all counselors and psychotherapists are aware of the importance of this fit. So, a person should not feel awkward, I know I'm repeating, or embarrassed when explaining to a therapist that they do not feel that they want to work with them. Now, the important factors in considering the suitability of counseling and psychotherapy is engagement. Counseling and psychotherapy require a person to be able to engage with their therapist, reflect on what has brought them to therapy, and explore aspects of their current life and personal history. or her story, okay? Because I have this thing now. The light has come in, and it's not just his story, it's her story also, if it's female. If it's a group, it's our story or their story. So we're so used to saying his story, which means it's his from a male perspective, but we're going her, his, our, their, all right? So counseling and psychotherapy require a person to be able to engage with their therapist. Repeating this because it's very important, okay? On what has brought them to therapy and explore aspects of their current life and personal history or her story. Okay? Counseling and psychotherapy may not therefore be appropriate for, and here we go, may not be appropriate for. We're talking about the engagement now, okay? Those who are experiencing an acute mental health crisis needing specialist psychiatric care. However, such a person may at some point in the future have counseling psycho- and psychotherapy as part of an overall treatment plan approved by their psychiatrist or mental team. Anyone, the next part, anyone with a significant cognitive impairment that prevents them engaging with the therapeutic process. Okay? People within the category may need a different form of therapy for emotional regulation and relief of symptoms of distress. Then we go for the timing. Counseling and psychotherapy can involve revisiting painful memories and or exploring difficult thoughts and emotions, whilst the counselor and psychotherapist will never apply pressure on a person to enter into an exploration of something that they are not yet ready to talk about. It nevertheless takes a degree of resilience to be able to enter into therapy in the first place. Therefore, it is generally recommended that a person waits until there has been some time distance and initial recovery from the occurrence of an acutely stressful event, such as an accident, injury, or traumatic bereavement, before engaging with a counselor or psychotherapist. And I remember one of my friends who was in the Vietnam War told me that he would rather talk about the death of his parent than to discuss that war, anything that happened in that war, because it was so terrible to them. And not only just one person, I know I've been doing this counseling for all just about as long as I can remember. Another veteran said the same thing, and he had a habit, and he wanted to break that habit. He kept trying and trying and trying, and I hope and trust that in his last years of life that he did uh, get some or get free of what was going on in his life. So therefore, it is generally recommended that a person waits until there has been some time difference or distance and initial recovery from the occurrence, because these men had been out of Vietnam for years, but it was such a tragic situation to them and devastating to they just could not stand to talk about it. but they did open up to me on some things, and I'm so glad that I was the person that they could open up to. Okay, reliability and availability. Reliability and availability. Counseling and psychotherapy require commitment. A person needs to be able to attend therapy sessions regularly, often at a set time and frequency. Sessions generally take place at an agreed time for a set duration, normally 50 minutes, an hour or more, at an agreed frequency, normally weekly, fortnightly, and for a period of time which can be weeks, months, and when warranted, even years. Counselors and psychotherapists may be able to offer flexibility in the way sessions are booked and where they take place online, over the telephone, in person, in a counseling center, or the therapist counseling room. So, whichever is the most comfortable, because we can do it online, we can do it on phone, we can meet and do it, whichever is best for the counselee. Okay, affordability. Counseling and psychotherapy outside of the NHS is generally paid for service, so it is important to consider its affordability. And that's true. Just, people need help, and sometimes, we have uh, a set requirement, but sometimes we might have to make adjustments for the individual. Yes. So public provision of counseling and psychotherapy within the NHS is limited in terms of its availability and the breadth and depth of the service on offer. Normally, it is restricted to a set number of sessions and approaches slash models of therapy, the most common of which is cognitive behavior therapy, which is CBT. So there can be long waiting lists in certain areas. And then, like I was thinking, like on a sliding scale, sometimes we have to have a sliding scale for the people who need help. For people who need help. There are some counseling services outside the NHS that offer low cost options, and some counselors and psychotherapists operate a sliding scale. There may be support available from an employee assistance scheme or from a church supported service. Having set out this real financial limitation for some people, it is helpful to focus on the benefits associated with counseling and psychotherapy and to view it as an investment rather than an experience. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're talking about counseling, okay, or psychotherapy today. Is it for everybody? Can everybody benefit from it? And I've come to the conclusion, yes. So having set out the real financial limitation for some people, it's helpful to focus on the benefits associated with counseling and psychotherapy and to view it as an investment rather than an expense. So this investment can benefit not only the person receiving counseling and psychotherapy, but also others who care about them and or they are in relationship with. Counseling and psychotherapy can also bring wider benefits to society in relation to restoring a person to health so that they are better able to contribute to their family and working life. We're moving right along. We have 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left. And this is Holy Week. Today is Thursday. This is Holy Week. And tomorrow is Good Friday. And I pray and trust that your celebration of the resurrection is a very wonderful experience all the way around for you. And that we'll all remember that Jesus is the reason for the celebration. All right? And us being forgiven, saved, and having eternal life because he arose. He was resurrected. Hallelujah. Limitations of counseling and psychotherapy. Not a cure all. You hear that? It's not a cure all. Cure all. Counseling and psychotherapy are not miracle cures, and a person's present life circumstance, such as financial problem, family crisis, losses, or chronic physical illnesses, will not go away with therapy, whilst counseling and psychotherapy may not be able to change the circumstances that a person finds themselves in. It may help them to change how they react and enable them to feel better to cope with these adverse events. And then there are unintended consequences. The growth of self awareness, understanding, and agency can result in a person embarking on positive and considered changes to their life. And I just want to say this: he's not hungry, he's not thirsty, he is spoiled. And right now, he's around and he can't see me directly. That's why Fresh is making himself known. Okay? So he's fine. Unintended consequences. The growth of self awareness, understanding, and agency can result in a person embarking on positive and considered changes in their life. They may result in changes to relationships, priorities, career, life events, and a person may choose to distance themselves from people who they experience as harmful. These changes can bring losses as well as gains, and it is important a person works with their therapist to equip them to handle some of the more negative and difficult consequences of change. And of course, we can tell by how I'm reading this and how it is worded that this came from the UK, because sometimes the words that we would put in there they leave out. Okay, so these changes can bring losses as well as gains, and it is important a person, and like we would have put two in there, a person, but they have important a person works with their therapist to equip them to handle some of the more negative and difficult consequences of change, and then can take time. Therapy, counseling can take time. And remember, I told you I'm going to stress the counseling, okay? Because there's a difference between counsel and counsel. All right. So it can take time. Counseling and psychotherapy can be a slow and demanding process, and this may not suit people who are expecting the equivalent of a quick fix. It often involves working to acknowledge and explore feelings and emotions, including those that are reawakened in the process. Whilst therapists are trained to help contain difficult emotions in the session, it is nonetheless important for anyone in therapy to be willing to experience and re experience uncomfortable thoughts, memories, and emotions which can take it which can take time to unpack and understand. Sometimes this ongoing process can lead to frustration at a lack of progress and result in a person initially feeling worse because they are really exploring what is causing them emotional pain and distress. Expectations of what counseling / psychotherapy should solve may be unrealistic and not be met, which can result in a loss of trust in the therapist and the person abandoning the counseling and psychotherapy. The person may feel more vulnerable and isolated as a result, and so many times it gets worse before it gets better. And we do understand that, don't we? Not immune from societal problems. Counselors and psychotherapists are trained to recognize and reflect on the many and various issues of difference that impact on the therapeutic relationship, irrespective of how competent and skilled they are in working with issues of diversity. People coming to counseling with nonetheless becoming with previous experiences of prejudice, misunderstanding, stigma, etc., that they may have experienced generally in society in dealing with health professionals or from people who they see as being like their counselor or psychotherapist. Now, this may increase the risk of the client feeling vulnerable, fearing prejudice and misunderstanding, and act as initial barrier to making progress in therapy. If this persists, the outcome of therapy may be less effective. And we're in acc-uk.org. Okay? Now, some people may continue to be impacted by stigma associated with having mental health problems within their community or shame associated with adverse life experiences, which act as barriers to sharing within therapy, making the therapy less effective. Okay, I'm almost finished, so please give me at least 5 more minutes, okay? Ethical and professional boundaries. And now we're in ethical and professional boundaries. A counselor, psychotherapist cannot interfere or directly intervene in a person's life to help them, except in special circumstances when they have to report a safeguarding concern. They are also prohibited from becoming a friend or companion and will be alert to situations where a client may become overly dependent on the therapist, thus limiting the client's ability to resolve issues moving forward on their own. Although the relationship that develops between a client and their therapist can feel way close and very close and personal, it is necessarily different from other relationships. A therapist needs to hold boundaries which are intended to keep the therapeutic relationship a safe one for the client. Also, a therapist is not usually available for support outside of counseling sessions. So we have to be very, very careful, okay? It is important for people to realize that these boundaries do not indicate a lack of care or regard for the clients, and the opposite is normally true. Now, can be ineffective. Talking about how the counseling can be. Hi, Anita. Thank you so much for joining me. I have just a few more minutes and I will be finished here talking about counseling. Uh, and it's very important. And we have to be really, really careful about the relationships we develop with the people we counsel. And we really do. And sometimes these are things people we've seen and heard of situations where people have become possessive. They have, uh, in their minds, feel like the relationship is more than professional and they do all sorts of things. So, anyway, it can be ineffective. The counseling can be ineffective for a small proportion of people. Counseling and psychotherapy may not be experienced as effective or helpful, and for some, counseling has been experienced as harmful. Sometimes it's been experienced as harmful. That could be for the therapist, the counselor, or sometimes it might be for the client. Okay? Although it is just the case that therapy does not work for some people at certain times, it is important to raise any specific concerns directly with a therapist if a person has experienced harm as a result of something that has been done. If the issue remains unresolved, then they are advised to raise a complaint with the therapist's professional membership body. All professional membership bodies have complaints processes that uphold the standards of counseling and psychotherapy. So, if you would like to know more about the benefits of counseling, COUNSELLING, and psychotherapy, please contact the office, which is office at ACC uk.org. And you can call me at 469-629-9543. And I have the email address there. Thank you so much for joining me for Point of View today. It is such a pleasure to be with you and you enjoy this resurrection celebratory weekend. Counseling or not, can everyone benefit from counseling? The difference in counsel and counsel. So we've covered all of that. Thank you so much. And please join me, God, the Mother's Board at 1 p.m. tomorrow. We might take a break, but just keep aware that the Mother's Board Inc. comes on Fridays at 1 p.m. And on Saturday evening is the Greater Gospel Temple Church of Praise and Worship and Inspiration of God Ministries Saturday evening Bible lesson session. And on Sunday mornings is the Greater Gospel Temple Church of Praise and Worship and Inspiration of God Ministries Inc. Sunday morning, Manna from Heaven. I love you so much and I thank you for being here. Please share this webcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And above all, enjoy your life. Enjoy it to the fullest. And if you have situations that are bothering you mentally, You can always call me or call a therapist somewhere, okay, that can help you out, someone you need to vent to talk to. And even if you just need to vent, if you need someone you can trust, you can give me a call. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for joining me on Point of View with Miss Shirley Polk. Join us next time, Tuesdays and Thursdays, beginning at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Let us hear from you.